All right, Bob, time to get out. Time to go for a little roll down the hill. Didn't subscribe. You know how the rules are. Come on. You don't have to make this hard on yourself. Please don't make it hard on me. Some people, they're so emotional. So emotional. I mean, I gave them a chance to subscribe. Look what happened. Just be thankful Mr. G didn't take you up here. Mr. G did it, you'd be having a whole other discussion.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about powerlifting bench press as opposed to bodybuilding bench press. Now, in the live chat that I do on Fridays at 4 p.m., somebody asked me about that and about what is the difference in the technique between bodybuilding or powerlifting. Now, of course, the goal between the two sports is totally different. For bodybuilding is you want to stimulate the muscle as much as possible to grow, and for powerlifting, you want to take the path or the groove of least resistance in order to get that weight from point A to point B. So there are two paradigms here which play a role. It doesn't mean that one way is easier than the other. I'm not saying that, and I'm not taking anything away from powerlifting, because powerlifting is very tough. It's a tough sport, and the rules around powerlifting is you must touch your chest and then fully extend to the top to get to the lockout position. Now, a lot of times people will watch me bench press and they say, well, why don't you lock out to the top? Why don't you lock out like powerlifting and come all the way up? Now, one of the main reasons is when you're doing a bodybuilding bench is that you're trying to activate the chest. Most of us are doing bench press for chest. And I find that when I extend to here with bench, then when I go to lock out, in order to counterbalance and to balance the weight, I end up above the shoulders. Now, if you see this right here, what I'm doing with my arms, there's this raising motion going on, so that way the bar can actually settle above my shoulders. Now, the main muscle I'm using in that is the front delt. So my front delt will hit failure faster than my chest in a lot of cases if I'm doing fully locked out reps. And my whole purpose of doing the bench press is to hit the chest and get that to hit failure as fast as possible, because I want the development in the chest. I rely on my shoulder exercises for my shoulder work.
And all I want is just to be just like a kid again. Yeah. I don't care for all that
Some people say, well, why don't you just work them all? Well, the problem is with that is that if you're noticing that your physique is developing a certain way, you may, like for instance, when I was doing bench press back in the day, locking out all the way up and all the way down, all the way up, I was getting great delt development from it, but my chest was lacking. And this is before my dislocation shoulder injuries and all this kind of stuff from hockey or whatever. But back then I was noticing that my shoulders were getting more dominant, but I was not getting chest development. So I watched some guys which had awesome chest development, and I noticed they were basically keeping the chest in a stretch position and keeping that tension and constantly pumping those reps out and focusing on using the exercise to absolutely totally exhaust the chest. Now, when you do powerlifting, like I said, the job or the goal is to go from point A to point B, to point A to point B. So in that tradition, you want to take the easiest possible path to do this. And some people will say, you know, keep the elbows at your side, push more with the front delts. The reason why they push more with the front delts, or they keep those elbows in more, is because they want to also avoid pec injuries and so forth, because they're dealing with maximal rep ranges, like maximal poundages in a lot more cases, right? They're doing 1 rep maxes in competition, and the last thing you want to do is put more stress on the pec tendon, although there have been plenty of pec tears in powerlifting competition. It's kind of a regular thing. So both bench presses are bench presses, and they're both good for you. I mean, you could still get benefit from doing full reps or partial reps, or constant tension reps, whatever you want to do. But depending on how your physique is developing will depend on which one really applies to you the most. And I find that a lot of times locking out from here to here, it's just wasted energy. I'm putting energy into another body part that I don't want to hit at that time. So that's why I do that. So that is the main difference, right? Now, some people with bodybuilding reps, they'll flare the elbows and stuff. I would never really recommend that, because if you're flaring the elbows, it can be a lot more stress on the pec tendons, and there have been a lot of injuries that happen to people because of that. Again, if you're going to do it though, if you're going to do the flared elbows thing, just make sure you're staying in the higher rep ranges in order to do so. So yeah, there are some basics that you can take from powerlifting, such as keeping the elbows in a little bit and making sure you retract those shoulder blades to keep your shoulders in the right position. Like, these are very useful tips you can take from powerlifting and apply them to your bodybuilding practice as well. So it's not like an either or method. but more a hybrid method is necessary for bodybuilding. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain. No matter how many times I walk around up here, I never find like a bucket of gold anywhere. There's never a bucket of gold on the ground. There's never like a $100 bill just sitting there. Or a cheeseburger. There's never a cheeseburger. I don't know, just the whole world's against me. Just no luck, you know? The world's against me. I don't get it.